also looked at the grievance around the homegrown school feeding, right? We discovered that apart from the beautiful pictures that are taken by government officials in a select primary school or two, there was really nothing after those pictures. Those pictures were for optics, right? So when you go to these schools after those pictures were taken, there was nothing on the ground. Now a bigger problem, and I think if you're Nigerian on this call, you must have seen various videos or pictorial evidences that shows that we had not done due diligence on the school feeding program. I'll bring it into the context of COVID. You know, when the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs said that we're still going to be feeding school students at home during the lockdown, right? And there was no clear-cut indication of how that program would run. Now, also realize that at the beginning of this year, towards the end of next year, the NSIP was under the office of the Vice President of the Federation, but has now been moved to the office of the Humanitarian Affairs Minister. Now, when you have something that is supposed to check poverty, the National Social Investment Program, and it becomes a political tool. Now, this reminds me, another challenge we had on the field was the fact that for people to access their funds, some elements of the state were asking for the parties they support, right? Political parties they support. I understood to the part that people needed to have a form of identification. So you can ask for voters card. But when you move from a means of identification to political party sentiment, then you obviously know that the program in itself is not going to be credible. And I want to say that most times when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. The reason for social investment programs like this is supposed to be for people to be able to gain skill, and not just gain skill. You know, people should be able to utilize those skills for their own personal economies, because when we get personal economics right, it's going to stimulate other parts of the system. Now, but like I tried to explain, we have a situation in the country where no matter how beautifully thought out or beautifully crafted a program is, I think we've not gotten it right on how to ensure that we excel, you know, and the reason is because we do not have systems that work. Now, without the right kind of system, create any program for whatever reason, it would not work. Now, if we have dishonest Nigerians running those systems at every level, it's still going to collapse. And that's what we're saying. We're saying that from 2016 to 2020, we've not been able to see the effectiveness of social investment on the socioeconomic realities of the Nigerians that have benefited from this same service. The noble is great, the intention is great, but we cannot see that reciprocal, the benefit of the investment, you know, in the NSIP to the daily realities of the Nigerian citizens, right? No matter where we find ourselves, no matter where we are in any part of the country, to ensure that government programs work. And I think one of the solutions in achieving this is when citizens are carried along in the process, step by step, which brings us to the place of transparency. Corruption, guys, thrives in opacity. Where there's no openness, there's corruption. Corruption can thrive there. So for NSIP, for example, maybe I can say that the reason why it's not working is because there's no transparency. People don't see themselves in the center of this. The people that probably benefit from these schemes are probably not giving back because they're probably not trained enough to be able to give back to their society.